Do you want to meet Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander, the real Frog Brothers? Join us, the Frog Brothers Podcast, August 20th and 21st in San Antonio, Texas for the Summer of Santa Carla presented by Kings of Horror. Help celebrate the 35th anniversary of one of our favorite films, The Lost Boys. With screenings, autographs, artists, vendors, oddities, readings, comics, food, and more. Plus your favorite podcast hosts, Alec, Justin, and Nick. Go to socialrevoltstore.com for tickets and be sure to follow Kings of Horror on Instagram for updates. Looking to win tickets? Listen to the Frog Brothers Podcast from now until the event and be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts for more chances to win. At Frog Bros Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. We'll see you in Texas.
Yeehaw!
Welcome back to Haunted by Tapes with the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Haunted by Tapes with the Frog Bros Podcast. My name's Justin.
I'm Alec.
And I'm Nick. Hello, everyone.
Tonight, we talk about the 2022 film, They, Them.
Are my notes in here?
I don't see them.
They.
There they are.
There they are.
Backslash
They're behind us.
Them. Or is it /
This is another Blumhouse flick.
Blumhouse.
I've been just saying they, them.
They, them.
Yeah, They, Them.
They, them.
They, them.
They, Them.
Jason, they, them.
That's what I'm saying.
In they, them.
They, them. He should have been the killer.
So this is an interesting film. So there's some things that this movie does right we can talk about right off the get-go before we get into
Well,
the
what's
plot.
funny is Peacock shows you the Rotten Tomato score before you watch the movie, and it's 33%, so I was like, oh, that's
on
that's
the
a thing.
screen.
Yeah, like it shows it on its display.
That doesn't necessarily mean
It doesn't necessarily
Plenty of horror
mean anything.
movies that I love
Agree.
probably have a less.
That's definitely worse than I think it is, but it definitely changed my perception of, oh, this might not be great.
Yeah, I did notice that going into this too, getting ready to watch. You're like, huh, okay.
Yeah,
Because I hadn't heard a lot of people talking about it. You know, just it wasn't getting the press like Predator was or Prey was. So you're just like, okay.
Well,
what-
that makes
yeah.
sense, though.
Has
It
that
is.
like murder book on tape opening?
Yeah,
Kind of what's happening.
the true crime like podcast or book on tape, whatever she's listening to, is pretty cool.
I call it book on tape, but I'm old school.
I know. Yeah.
It's probably not. Yeah, it gets stopped. Realize there's spike strips. Gets axe murdered.
Axe murdered.
Which I was
figured-
like, yeah, that's very much like Prey. We saw a lot of axe action in that too.
This is pretty cool because you see that
Action.
stop strip,
Right in the
spike
movie.
strips right in the middle of the street. Once that lady realizes she's ran him over, she's like, "Oh fuck!" Starts to panic. Sees that deer, freaks out, has that nice little moment, and then you get that first jump scare.
Was that a real deer?
Yeah, it's and that you
That
get
was a
that.
real deer, was it?
I don't know.
Did you watch this?
Was it a real deer? I mean,
I
there was
think
a deer
Justin
there.
needs to get his eyes checked.
It looked like
It's a shitty looking deer.
It looked like Bambi.
But to be fair, yeah, like
No.
a horror budget movie, whatever.
Yeah.
You're expecting a CG deer's fine.
They
Whatever.
Kevin Bacon probably made it on his Mac.
And then
We get that first jump scare, which is like immediately like, "You're gonna do that already." That was the first sign of like,
the
"Are
only
you serious,
scare
Clark?"
in the whole film.
I thought this movie was going to be more like Red State, the Kevin Smith movie, where it's more about the religious violence. And
Yeah.
it was less about that, and I was hoping for that, so I was a little bummed
Well-
about that.
Kevin Bacon's opening speech, he's like, "This is the last time we're going to mention the man upstairs."
Yeah. His line, "I can't make you straight," which just had me going, "Ooh, but you could make me gay, daddy."
Make me bent.
I don't know.
I mean, it's good seeing Kevin Bacon come back and do some
Oh,
more
yeah.
stuff again.
I think 1989, Planes, Trains, and Automobils, Kevin Bacon. That's the one you want to fuck. At least it's the one I want to fuck.
What
Well, he's-
about Friday the 13th Bacon?
Probably too young for me at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the planes, trains, and
Well,
automobile is more of an
you coulda
appropriate
fucked
age
him-
group for him.
You could have fucked them.
He's more sexually proficient
you were
by
the
the
same
time he's
age as Kevin
where he is at his age then, so he'd probably be better at gagging on my dong.
I think he's looking
And
pretty.
he's a New Yorker, so he's probably a little more outgoing than
He's looking pretty
the-
good today, though.
the guy that lives out by the camp.
I don't know.
You don't find him attractive in this?
Just like I told you which version of him I want to bang.
Yeah, I already told you.
Or I'll even take the version of him from X-Men.
What if you could only?
He's a little older.
Mm.
You know, might be open. We might be switching. We might be both verses in that situation.
What if you
by
could
that time?
only bang today, Kevin Bacon? Would you?
Sure.
Okay,
He's a handsome gentleman.
just making sure.
Would you not bang Kevin Bacon right now?
Probably would.
You would for the. You probably would just for the press. It's not even about your
For the press.
sexuality at that point. It's just about the I fucked Kevin Bacon and
What
you
have
haven't.
What have you done?
Exactly.
It's the bragging rights, is what you're saying?
Sort of.
And that means I fucked everyone that Kevin Bacon's fucked.
well, according
So
to
that's
some weird
probably some
people on the
supermodels.
internet, yes.
Yeah.
I called someone out on that. They were like, "If you fuck someone,
That's such an old.
you're fucking everyone they've ever fucked." And I'm like, "Wow, you fucked a lot of dudes then, huh?"
That's shit they were saying when we were in high school.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
That's
sense.
some old school stuff.
I'd be like, "Wow, really? Then I have some impressive fucking numbers, dude."
I mean, you might catch a STD that they gave that person.
Haven't even
but,
figured out what they call anymore.
but you're not really fucking them.
Cora is introduces the therapist. Molly introduces the nurse. Zane, is it? Is the athletics director.
My girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
And Balthazar.
Yeah. Which basically he just reminds me of Torgo, I think, from
Torgo.
from the MST3K movie. What is it?
Oh.
You know Torgo? You know what I'm talking about? What's that?
Is it the main alien guy? Was that his name?
It's not the alien. He's it's in the cult movie. Manos Hands of Fate. That's the one.
Oh, that's not the MST3K movie. no.
No, I wasn't meaning that. I just mean it's a movie
okay.
that they talked about in it, like, riffed on. Balthazar's creepy as fuck though.
Yeah, he's got cameras in the
And
shower.
old Duke.
the dog, yeah.
I want to pet that dog. And you know what?
And more
animal violence for
animal
me.
violence.
Yeah.
And this one
A dog.
is worse because the animal starts out and is pretty much never CG, and it's a fucking dog.
But do you feel better knowing that he had cancer? And
Dog
he
is like at least a half a point above every other animal out there. I mean, maybe cats even with it, but
You don't feel better that he was suffering and needed to be.
Do you want to get fucking shot to get
I don't
death
even
if you're on
think
your
that
deathbed,
dog was
asshole?
cancerous. They're just having them shoot
But-
dogs.
No,
I get,
they said something earlier that it was walking like something
The
was
one-
wrong with it though.
yeah, but he could just be an old dog. My point is,
Yeah.
I think they do this shit every time they have campers. They get a dog and they make them shoot it.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
they do.
my interpretation.
I felt like there was no escalation that they immediately went to 11 with the okay, now you're going to shoot this dog. Like what?
Well, yeah, their stuff it was bizarre and weird. It wasn't as torturous as it could have been. It was more emotional torture versus those pictures were like a bunch of bruised, beat up kids.
Like the premise of this movie is great, but they
It
don't
just,
execute.
It's
They
going
don't-
back and forth between that stuff and then random slashings that you're kind of just like, you almost forget that that's even happening.
Yeah, this
Like,
should-
oh, the slasher shit. Yeah, that's right. That's happening.
this shouldn't even have been a slasher film. It
Yeah.
should have just been about
Yeah.
these kids going to this conversion camp.
Yeah, because the psychological terror of this movie is way fucking scarier than any of the slasher killings. Like, the slasher killings are like an afterthought in this. Like, none of them are scary. You get that one jump scare
They
at the
don't really
beginning.
show anything too much either.
No. Now, the cast, I did enjoy the cast. There's a pretty good cast in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no complaints.
Kevin
about
Bacon
the cast.
and the actor that played Jordan are the standouts, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't write their name down, but they are non-binary.
Yeah,
in,
the role of Jordan
reality,
was great. I
You
thought
didn't think Anna
they kicked
Klumsky
ass
did
in
a great job?
Fine. Just fine.
she was
I
fine.
just think those are the standouts, that's all. I didn't say anybody else was bad.
Yeah, and I just haven't seen her in a lot of stuff lately, so to
I've
see
seen
her
in-
back.
I saw her in some TV show recently I watched. I can't remember what it was.
But the thing with her, though, like at the end, I just didn't like her character kind of coming out at the end. It was predictable for her to be there, right?
I actually,
did you say she
probably
came
halfway
out
through
at
the
the
movie thought, okay, the nurse is the killer.
Yeah.
Because the only people that are dying are the evil people, basically, that we
Yes.
want to die. So that means it has to be somebody on that side, but they're implying it's somebody at the camp. That's the only person that's new. It has to be her.
Well, they give it away when they have Jordan and Alexandra out in the woods together for whatever they say. We're going to leave you out here for 10 minutes, but it winds up being all the night.
Yeah.
And you see the killer kill somebody during that. And had they left that scene out, there would have been much more ambiguity and much more fear around who the actual killer was. I think that scene basically ruined the movie for me. That did not need to be in there because that basically spoiled it. From that moment on, you're like, oh, okay, it's none of these kids here because they're all out here.
I like the scene where they're all putting on moisturizer and the Steve guy, is it Steve or Stu or some shit? He's like all
Stu, yeah.
fucking over it, and he looks over, and even the Gerald kid is putting it on his fucking...
Yeah.
Gabriel, I think is actually his name. And then Veronica wakes up in the middle of the night and goes to shower, and you think that she's about to be killed, but it's just the creepy lady and is like checking her body out and finds out that she's trans, and then makes her go to the boys' room.
Yeah, make a big deal about it, and he's like trying to figure out why Jordan didn't get in trouble. He's like, Jordan was honest with me. He told me that from the get-go. He's like, you lied and said otherwise, and it's just like, oh god.
Yeah. Yeah, Veronica gets her meds from the nurse, the HRTs.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do that blindfolded, handcuffed shit, and that was weird as fucking dumb. I would have just been like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. You're going to make me stay out here all night? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
My next note was, there would be gay sex. Which, to be fair, they corrected me on. We'll get there.
Yes. Yeah, but the first night, I think they're implying they don't know each other well enough to...
Well, right, you're right. I'm not saying they would
Yeah.
be, because especially younger kids, you don't want to see... And they're not all kids. They're like 18, 19 either, so...
Well, the promiscuity of that, like, you don't want to be stereotypical of anything, so just, let the story ride.
Well, everybody has the potential of being a slut, not just
Oh, yeah, for sure.
people who are cooler than other people. Balthazar's watching the girls shower, and he gets killed.
His fucking death is awesome. That was my favorite kill scene in the movie.
Yeah.
His fucking face going through that computer monitor when he's perving and, like, basically jerking off to that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's great.
Jordan goes in the office at night.
Finds the Whistler Camp photo file in there.
Yeah, and that's when she runs into Molly. Then you have that the old Duke scene where they're like, we're going to go shoot guns, everybody. Let's go shoot guns, because that's what people with wieners do.
Oh, that's after they set up that the women are making pies. The men are going to go shooting some guns.
Exactly.
You're like, okay. But, I mean, some of that stuff does sound like some stereotypical gender...
If I was there, I'd have been like, can I instead stay here and make a cream pie?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Cream pie.
Jordan shoots the dog, which is where I said, fuck this movie. Because I would literally, if that happened there, I might shoot Kevin Bacon. If you had put a gun on my hands, I might have done it.
That would have been a fucking drastic twist to this movie. Like, I was really hoping that Jordan would fucking snap in that moment and take him out. I was like, fuck yeah, do it.
I was bummed. I was also thinking maybe just shoot to, I don't know, I was hoping they weren't actually going to shoot the dog.
Like, had I written this movie, I could see her, or see Jordan's character. Yeah, sorry, that's my bad.
It's unintentional, folks.
No, and I could see Jordan's character fucking shooting Kevin Bacon, and then the rest of that camp crew, the counselor crew, coming after
I'm just waiting for him to
Jordan. Fuck you, Nick.
We have the best intentions, okay? Yeah. We're correcting ourselves. We're doing the best we can.
That's why Nick is silent.
Yeah.
No, I'm just waiting.
He has the fear of fucking up.
No. They do point the gun at Kevin Bacon.
And then you get the lesbian doc sex after she's hit on by the Cora. Mm-hmm. Cora tries to basically lure her in.
Sitting there thinking, like, who's Doc?
No, the doc in the water.
Lesbian doc sex. Or lesbian dyke sex, depending on how, It was right there. It was easy. I had to go for it.
Low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
There are dikes in the river. That's
And
what they
also,
call
Korra psychologically fucking damaging people earlier.
Yeah. That's fucking intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you immediately see like that level of sexualization there, and you're like, God damn, this is fucked up. And you don't know, like, part of that seems authentic because, are you doing this to like fuck with this person, or are you doing this because you want it, or is it a combination of both? And you don't know.
Anyway, back
Can't
to
blur
this.
the line.
Back to this lesbian doc sex.
Oh, okay, yeah. Did you finish? How many times?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I finished during the next scene when Stu was pounding Gabriel. No, the lesbian scene. I was definitely like, okay, this is A+. Hey, there you go. Well, I mean, it was, but that's not the whole thing. It's obviously gonna be hot because there's these characters doing this stuff, and they had like full panties off, like Cinemax late time shot of pussy eating.
Yeah, like it felt very authentic, right? It felt like
Right.
real. And you're like, huh, okay.
And then they don't linger on it too long.
Yeah.
And then they move on to Gabriel revealing that he's like super fucking ripped too. And then they're just like, let's rub our muscles and our dicks together.
Well, he's like, you look like a woman. I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah. Looks like, I mean, yeah, definitely pretty
Let's do
feminine.
it. Let's
what are
do
you going
it.
to do?
Yeah, not here. Okay. So
Right.
they go back into that cabinet that Molly had been in earlier.
Although, here's my problem with this scene. This definitely should have, somebody would have been sucking somebody's dick here, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
And they just didn't have the gumption to go there.
yeah,
with that.
clearly. Maybe they just wanted to go click to this. This was written by a gay man, we will be fair. So it's not like it's just some complete outside perspective. As far as I know, though, he is a cis gay man, but still, member of the community, if you will. So not completely out of left field, I don't feel. Don't know if there's any experience with these camps. Like I said, I think the vibe was just should have been a slasher, should have been this thing. But
And who's to say that wasn't shot and was just removed from the film for,
yeah, who knows?
I mean, there's lots of things that can go into something like that.
Anyway, he bangs the shit out of this twink, and then
Wait, who banged who? I don't even remember now.
come on, really? Do you know nothing about gay culture?
No, he doesn't remember.
Do you remember the lake scene where Stu says, "You look like a girl," brushes the hair out of the face, and then they make out, and then Gabriel jumps up and wraps his legs around him? Right there, you're like, okay, settled. What is going where is settled. Whether or not both of the long shafts go in mouths or not, maybe we didn't see that part.
There should have been some 69.
Probably.
Anyway, if they get back to that cabinet we'd seen Molly in earlier, right? And then obviously they go for it.
Where were they banging? In that cabin?
The basement, it looked like.
That was like right in the entry of the
Oh,
cabin.
yeah.
Oh, that was a shitty cabin then.
It did seem
It
like
was,
a
yeah. It's all
basement.
boarded up on the outside to make it look like, but that's their torture cabin. So
Oh, yeah, okay. So then they torture Stu with the battery by showing him. It's like a Clockwork Orange.
yes, that's what
Borderline.
exactly. That was my note. Was like that Clockwork Orange moment of like
Hook him up to a car battery and
fucking shock him and what do they call that? What kind of therapy do they call that? I had it written down here.
yeah, I don't know. But they show him pictures of
aversion therapy.
hot bitches and they don't shock him, and then they show him hunky dudes and they shock him
They shocking his nipples?
right near him.
Well, they have the positive and a neutral on each side.
That might work.
So he's
that
closing
might
the
work
circuit.
opposite then.
Yeah, he was probably ready for round 2 by the time they got
It's like
over
more.
with. He's like, all right, sit on this thing again. I'm tied up here.
You don't know.
Slobber on it at least. I'm
There
desperate.
There are people that are into electrical play.
Probably not that level, but
I would hope not, but yeah. Just because it could kill you.
maybe eventually, because
If you work your way up to it, I don't know.
Gabriel finds Balthazar. And somebody else is put in the torture chair. I can't read what I wrote there.
Oh, well, you can't skip that because so Zane and Sarah are going at it in their bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like each looking at photos. Like, so Zane's looking at the photos of Stu on his phone, and Sarah's looking at images. And I didn't write down the other gal's name.
Yeah. The one who was getting her pussy eaten on the dock.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're all getting turned on, so they're trying to have hetero sex by looking at photos of who they're actually attracted to.
And it looks like they were just grinding at that point, even.
Yeah, he was like dry humping.
I said
the
that
fuck
too.
out
I
of
was
her.
like, they didn't even take their underwear off.
No, and they may not have, right?
They got special holes for that.
Well, I mean, yeah,
the Mormons.
They could have put it through the pee hole and then slid the panties to the side, I guess. But there was no indication of this happening.
Do you think they have a lot of anal? Because he would be like wanting butthole, not pussy?
Like in Brokeback Mountain when he flips his wife over.
Yeah, basically. Pretty much.
I mean, I don't know, because that's also just a stereotype that...
Or like in Scary Movie 2, where he makes her put on a jersey and a helmet, and then an entire football uniform, and calls her like Ron or something. And he's like banging her from behind. Then he's like, he gets on the bed and puts his ass up, and he's like, "Now do me." Is it like that?
Could be. You never know.
I don't know.
They didn't show that, so... All I know is that that's the next Beth... I sound like Mike Tyson.
What's the next best thing, man?
The second best death scenes in this film. Pretty good. I mean, without showing too much, but like you got some blood splatter in there and like they're going at it. So anytime you kill people that are fucking, that's usually a good kill in a horror movie, right? I mean, just speaking by the numbers here.
Yeah, the killer is fighting Kevin Bacon, revealed to be Molly. Molly's the killer.
Jordan is hiding in the closet. Shit, like hiding in the fucking closet, which is like a whole thing, like a whole stereotype of this movie, right?
God, that's...
It's one of the cringier moments of this.
Well, that
like-
came out wrong, but also right.
No, I mean that's by intention. That's very intentional from the direction. Hiding in the closet, sees that go down,
It's like you're gonna come out of the closet.
talks Molly into not killing him. So
And in a way, you could look at it that way, because if you come out of the closet to help, then you're evil in the eyes of Kevin Bacon. But if you stay in the closet, then Kevin Bacon would have won that encounter.
yeah, that I mean, it's
So if
very
you look at it
intentional.
that way and you really want to digest it that way, you could say that's a little brilliant aspect of it.
I thought that was kind of stereotypical in there.
Could
but
be
I don't-
accidental, though.
Yeah,
Because hiding in a closet in a horror movie is just a thing you do.
exactly.
And lots. It's like most iconic.
I wasn't saying
thing
anything
in
bad
Halloween.
about it either, right? So
Yeah. Molly is Angie, actually, and went to the camp and was fucked up by it. Jordan does not shoot Kevin Bacon. I don't know his name. I'm just going by Kevin Bacon. Then Angie kills the shit out of him. And she basically pulls a Lost Boys and impales him on an animal.
Yeah, the antlers. That's a pretty good scene. Some of the kills
Oh,
that
yeah.
you actually see are
I said he doesn't.
He said, what happened is, he said to Jordan right beforehand, "My blood runs through your veins." And she pushed him back onto the rhino and said, "So does mine."
You have a lovely room of death.
I said, just Lost Boys.
He wasn't even phased by it.
He was killed.
No, but at first when he goes in it, it's like nothing happened.
Well, he was like, "Is it in yet?"
The other thing on this that I feel like they got wrong, like Jordan is able to just walk out of this place as the sheriff department arrives.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was thinking, no, there's no way. That you probably might have even been shot.
Yeah, I was thinking for sure that in real life Jordan would have been fucking executed right there by them fucking infiltrating that building.
Or they would have waited outside for 45 minutes.
Had a megaphone, yeah. Come out with
They
your hand
definitely
up.
would have shot the
Yeah,
people
With
of
that
color.
Punisher phone backgrounds and shit, you know?
yeah.
Well,
And then the movie just sort of ends.
Well, they do all the little cutesy stuff here, there.
Oh,
and-
yeah. Well, actually, we forgot the musical segment, the dance scene earlier, too. I didn't take notes on it.
So I
But
wanted to
yeah, they-
talk about that.
they paid for some couple big
It's important
songs.
because that is kind of a big thing of gay culture.
Music.
Yeah. And especially, like, dancing in general.
pop music.
Exactly. And that's... What song was that? It was...
It's Pink.
Yeah, Pink. I remember But like, yeah, that scene made sense to me. Personally, it didn't really fit the movie, but like, it fit the vibe of like, you're expecting gay people to watch this, clearly.
And Kevin Bacon's outside watching them be musical
Right.
and just seething.
God damn it, I'm gonna cut the power.
So I saw a very clickbait article after I watched this discussing that scene. But as clickbait is, it says the worst scene in this movie, they, them. And then you know what image it shows? Gabriel in Stewart's arms in the fucking water. So fucking clickbait, and they go on to complain about that scene because like it just felt off, and I'm like, yeah, I get that. That karaoke scene didn't feel right, but it kind of also closes the movie out at the end. So it's
Well, the
kind of
thing is, it just felt like
I don't feel like they ever got there as characters to be in that spot. Like I get that maybe you're using that to cut the tension, but it just never felt truly authentic in that moment. But
yeah, I don't know. It seems out of place, but it does belong in a gay movie. I'll give it that. So I didn't entirely hate it. I feel like other people of the community might really like that part.
That was fine.
And I just it was just a little out of place in the movie. But again, I think the movie has other structural issues by having two different horror plots, and I think there should have just been the one. I don't know. Maybe you could have worked into the scene a little more differently. I don't know, but it's fine.
Or no horror.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, so I thought the cast is great. They did an excellent job of working with what they had. I feel like I feel like the story fell short. Oh, God damn it! I guess that sounded fucking terrible, didn't it? Fuck me. No, I think the cast is great. It's the writing. Some of the writing in the storytelling is like, do you want this to be psychological terror or do you want this to be slasher? And I felt like it should have chosen one or the other, and you would have had a much better movie overall.
Or put more of the slasher in, so it doesn't seem like an afterthought.
Yeah, because the slasher just kind of shows up, and then Molly's this kind of careful character that has empathy for these kids when everything else is going wrong.
You could still have someone kill someone
Yeah.
in just a psychological film and not be a slasher because they fucking snap or whatever.
Yeah.
It
Well,
feels
it's like-
But to have a masked costume.
You remember the movie
killer-
Green Room?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you could have taken a page from that movie even a little bit. That movie, Red
I
State.
need to watch that again. So
Yeah.
I watched it at the theater.
you can have horrific violence and still that kind of a story without having to have a masked killer in there, right?
Yeah.
And even if you'd done the masked killer in here, you could have done it in a different way. I don't know what. It felt like the killer part of the movie, the slasher part, like cheapened the fact that they're at this conversion camp and those places are pretty horrific on their own. Like that's a really fucked up. Like they're actually banning those in many places because of how fucked up they are. They're proven not to work. It's basically psychological torture for people. It's reverse therapy, basically.
And also, I don't know. Jordan should have shot Kevin Bacon. Fuck him. He died anyway, so, but whatever.
Eventually, yeah.
If you're going to put a gun in my hands in that scenario,
The junior marksman.
sayonara.
3 years in a row. Or what'd she say? Junior marks
Person.
person to be a
corrected.
smart ass to Zane. Yeah. I like that. And from what I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe like everyone that was cast to be, whether they were gay, straight, whatever, everyone
From
was,
what I could read, yes, for
everything was authentically that in their real
sure.
life.
The actor that played Jordan was for certain. I imagine Veronica was as well. I couldn't find, like, their name wasn't clickable on Wikipedia, but
Yeah.
I could,
Yeah.
I could do more research probably.
I
But
feel like there's some authenticity there as far as accurate casting, which is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
As far as representation goes.
unlike James Franco being cast as Fidel Castro.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, you start seeing progress with certain things, and then you're like, holy
He's
shit.
looking like Castro in those pictures.
But fucking
No, I know.
John Leguizamo's talking shit, and I'm like, he literally just fire Franco and give Leguizamo the job.
Yeah.
Right there, problem solved. I love Leguizamo.
And even he's self-aware because you got to realize, like, he played Italian in the fucking Mario movie.
I was about to say
so, like, it's a fucking issue, right? They just cast whoever they can, and they don't really
maybe
fucking.
he thinks he
Yeah,
looks more
Al
Italian.
Pacino and
Talk about-
Scarface.
Yeah. So every step forward, you got to have two steps back because someone fucked it up, and you're like, oh. And like I thought Franco was canceled, right? And all of a sudden he's going to play Fidel Castro in a movie based in Cuba. You're like, what are you fucking doing? Who asked for that movie and who's paying for it? Seems like it's something Warner Brothers doing based on the fucking lunacy of it all.
You never know.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Well, that was They Them.
Yeah, let us know what you thought. Did you think it was a good flick? Do you think they're going to do something else to follow this up?
What do you mean, a sequel?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have a mask killer with a mask and an outfit, like, I feel like you're intentionally trying to set up a franchise.
Nah, I'm okay without that. I want more films with these types of characters, yes, but I don't want more of this necessarily. I'm okay with just this one. It was good enough. Like, if you do it again, it's going to go down in quality
Yes,
to a
for
point
sure.
where it is unwatchable.
Yeah.
What are you
I
laughing
thought-
at? You thought it was better than that or worse?
No.
It's a good
I'm
one-off.
just thinking of a franchise I'll spawn off of this.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I get worried about, that when you have a mask killer, right? You're trying to go that route, because it was like the mask is trying to be memorable enough that you're like, oh, that's the mask from They Them.
And this is relevant considering we recently covered Sleepaway Camp, which is
This
also...
is what I was just
A
thinking
lot
about.
of controversy.
I wonder
Well,
if-
not even just the controversy we went through with it, where we were kind of sort of some things were mistaken out of, not even out of context, because in the context they still don't make us look bad.
you should,
But-
when you post this, you should send a link to that person on Twitter.
No, we don't need
No.
to
See
start.
if we did a better job.
If they want to listen, they'll be
Not
here.
to start a war, to see if we did a better job.
And if they are listening, thanks for listening. I appreciate your support. That's all I got to say about that.
what was their last name?
Shut the fuck up.
Nick's
I'm
over
ending
here.
this.
All right.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.